Hello, this is FG back with EU4 Anbennar. Today we are continuing on with the Vanrahar series. This very well could be the last episode, not 100% sure, but we will see how it goes. Alright, so we can do this. Probably want to dealing with Buvari. Rodsteda will join in. Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with quality. Why not? We have an excess of military points. And that will also mean that we will have 100 army tradition permanently, which is always a fun time. Right, we will upgrade them. They can head that way. Just a few too many casualties. Alright. Do not care. None of those traits are good. Host the games. Our ruler's a little bit too old. Alright, no, they can head that way. Does they manage to stay siege? Okay, Sarasong siege down. Excellent. Okay. Do want to keep at least some level of stability. Okay, across the river. No, we do not want to do that. And these guys can head here. This is a city province, right? Yeah, it is. There's a bunch of cities over in this area. Yeah, we did alright. Not great. Yeah, so grab that. Here and that. This can go here. Right, that there. Dev cost will come off. Horses or whatever, but do that. Alright, so from Semprong, we want that. We want that. That gives us their capital state as well as the western side of the Karyana. The western side of Sarasung. Did I? Yes, I did. Alright, just making sure I did that. Okay, so for Semprong, they do not want out. Kabet 20 does not want out either. A lot to Kong. Yeah. Okay, so who can we knock out? Not them, not them, not them. Kabet 20 should be easy to get out. Kabet. I'm just gonna call him Kabet 20, like I always have. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, actually, it's terrible. What am I saying? That does nothing for us. Alright, so, Kabet 20. Yes, and then we want to go right there and siege that. Ah, shit. Ooh, that's great. Also means I am going to abdicate this guy as soon as possible so I can see what we get. Cal Il not. That. Yeah. I do not want out of the war here. These guys can protect trade in the Gulf of Rahen. I'm just gonna keep our fleet together. For Semprong, this works, and we can go ahead and concentrate the development. Concentrate the development. And as for this, force religion, give me money. Excellent. Alright, who died? Weird that we get so many, human advisors, just given that there's not a huge amount of them in our nation. Oh, I didn't realize that was mine. See if I can sell them that province. Alright, that will take us over. Actually, let's see. Okay, we can't do that. Shit. Ooh, people are gonna be a little bit upset with me for a little bit. I have a simulation. Yeah, I have a simulation program. Alright, there we are. These guys can head here, and they can deal with the recently annexed territory of Buvari. Miltech cost. Skill... Oh, sorry, tapped out by accident. Skill 3 trader. Right. Can get them up to level 5 with no issues. Okay. Regions. We want all of Dujat. Don't want any of the bomb ban. Alright, and we can fabricate a frame on Sarasung. So we want that. Is Sarasung part of the... No, it's not part of this Xianji. Okay, we can also invite... let's do Ascendant Soul. Keep my army tradition nice and high. Wanted to make sure that I got those fights done with. Alrighty. Excellent. That's done with. We will take the admin efficiency. If I was to declare war on Fukalin, I just want that singular province. Rodsteda would be a bunch of extra men to help me out. A bunch of extra absolutism. Average autonomy is less than 40%. Yeah, we'll do that one. Oh yeah, that's something I should probably do. Well, these conversions, I need to do those. But also, I should build state houses. Average autonomy is less than 40. Excellent. Sure, we'll take goblins. Why not? Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Oh. Alright. Meditation. Claim that. Reorganize. Legitimacy. Shrunk games. I'll join myself. I will do sword dueling. And then I want to enter the Theater of Simulacra. Alright. Alright. Ever since the mighty Haramar conquered Hellas, Haramari have ruled many nations, yet dominated none. There are simply too few Haramari to truly dominate society. Even in our greatest conquests of Rahen, our jungle paradise, or Vanrahar, was the only place where this was different, a society dominated by Haramari, not just governed. It's time to redefine what the Haramraj is. It is not a human nation with a Haramari ruling caste. It's a Haramari nation that rules over humans. Those fools who would see Rahen return to human rule should already know this, but they refuse to face us in battle honorably. We need to draw them out, and luckily we know how. An enormous guerrilla resistance has been growing across the Haramraj. Bearing the symbol of a bloody lotus, they declared their intent to destroy the Lotus Throne and cast the Haramari out of rulership. They strike from the shadows and fade into local communities, making it impossible to fight them conventionally until now. By a stroke of luck, we captured a very popular rebel leader, beloved by all, kind, gallant, brave, and suave. We killed him, publicly and very painfully. A crowd-turned mob gathered to try and free him, but the soldiers stationed at the execution massacred the rabble. Word spread like wildfire. Now people are revolting in the street, which is exactly what we wanted. Now that the rebels are out in the open, the rebel leaders will have to come out as well, lest they leave their supporters leaderless and disorganized. Still, there are many more rebels than we expected. This is going to be a long war. Alright, so we do that. And then we come here. Alright. What is our ruler good at? Enchantment. Okay. Evocation. Shock and awe. Yes. Alright. This is going to be unpleasant. Alright. We might actually need, like a quartermaster. Okay, we need to take that. That is Jungle Province, yes, it is. Alright, how do I get out of the Blood Lotus Rebellion? Okay. We're getting close to being done with these revolts, or at least the initial set of revolts. After these guys are dealt with, it shouldn't be too bad. Okay. That's not great. here, we want to slacken recruitment standards. Alright. I don't actually think without those extra armies I can win this. Oh. So we'll have to go back to a point where we still have all of our armies, which is before this. These guys need to go. And yes, these guys. They need to head there. These guys need to head there. So... then we will need... stop some of them from spawning at least. Alright, send them there. These guys need to come here. Here and here. Actually, I want to send them this way, and they can go check and see if there's any rebels over there. Go ahead and make sure we get these guys dealt with. What is that? Ah, General died mid-battle. Okay. It's our ruler. Shit. Okay. Thought I cleared out those areas of Blood Lotus. Any Blood Lotus down here? Yes, there's headquarters. So that's a headquarters dealt with at least. That's too many for one army to deal with. Blood Lotus sympathizers. Yep, I am very much aware that I'm slackening recruitment. Okay, so there is guerrilla movements over there. Okay, so that's the last of the Blood Lotus from this region. Kara. You know, I need to... Yeah. Head this way to deal with them. have them going. These guys go. They can deal with that. Okay. So there's a Blood Lotus guerrilla camp right there. Yep, definitely need that one. And then we want to go up here, here. Okay, so that's, fortunately for us, mostly in areas that are already under guerrilla control, which sucks, but not too much we can do about that. We need our king, emperor, whatever you want to call him, right there. Okay, never mind. Yes, go there. So there's a camp up here, it seems. So... Alright. This is rough. Alright, let's do manpower. Okay. Them dealt with, them dealt with. They can go here. Alright, I can just get like... I don't even need that long, I just need like a few months to just... Okay. How bad is the revolt here? How bad is the revolt up north? 48,000, that's not bad. Pechka, yes. And then let me do that, and then I'll let me pay off some loans. So there is rebels here. Fucking rebels love moving around. God damn. Yes, there they are. Bastards. Alright, is there any more Blood Lotus or rebels around? Potentially. Victory at last. At last it is done. The rebels and their sympathizers have been entirely defeated. With battle so grueling it was impossible to tell the difference between a rebel fighter and a civilian, and eventually many of our warriors stopped caring. A recent census has shown that huge swaths of humans have been killed, as well as a similar percentage of Haramari. Every effort is being made to help the Haramari communities recover from the devastation. We wish we could leave the humans to rot for this betrayal. They are still needed, so we must provide vital key aid to human communities as well. When we dragged the rebel leaders to talk, there was no negotiations. They were a conquered people and treated as such. We dictated that there would be no more human in the upper caste, that Haramari would be given preference in all castes, any prior preferential treatment for Haramari would remain unchanged. The rebels, for their part, listened quietly with a dullness in their eyes, for they too knew it was the end. There would be no next time. They had fought with everything they had and lost. The humans will likely always be the largest race in Rahen. We stripped them of their remaining power. Catching us off guard at first, we analyzed and countered the indomitable human spirit. They think too highly of themselves. Only through obedience, harmony, and hard labor can humans show their worth. Only through accepting their position within society can they uplift themselves and reach their fullest potential. Only through the caste system, with the Haramari guiding the humans below, can they prosper. Haramar the Great. The first day was young, the air filled with the smell of flowers when the human delegation arrived at the palace. They wore black robes with only simple patterns, as they were instructed not to dress above their caste by the victors. On the side stood these victors, the Haramari. The Haramari were dressed in the most lavish robes one could buy and the most extravagant patterns a tailor could think of. The negotiations would be split in 3 rounds over the course of multiple days. The Haramari treated the humans not as partners or equals in these negotiations, but as a conquered people who would have no choice but to accept whatever demands were made. The first topic of the first round of negotiations was that of reparations for what one Haramari negotiator called the frustrating nuisance of human rebellion. All assets of the richest human farmers would go directly to the coffers of the Haramari who lost the most wealth during the Blood Lotus, and the profits of all luxury crops, like spices or cottons, would be taken directly by the Haramari state. The second was the right of grievance, or more specifically, the abolishment of this right. No longer would peasants be able to send their complaints to local lords or make any request of their lords. The third topic was military service. From now on, humans would only serve as cannon fodder. Footfolk or menial workers in officer positions would become Haramari exclusive. Finally, the question of who belonged in the lower castes. While the Haramari delegation put up a united front on this topic, in reality, it was split on it. Should the few Haramari in the lower castes remain there? During a break in negotiations, they debated and decided that humans will toil the soil. No Haramari will have to work the land. It is not their place. Alright, I'm not going to read all that. We will not force... We will not force any from the middle class to become administrators or warriors. Alright. And as the dawn will always be here, so will the castes. Alright, so we get 50 years of a nice big buff. Okay. Fucking finally, that shit is awful. Okay, they should be the largest now. Unite the Haramraj. Okay, that temple is fine. That temple is not ours. Actually, let's do that. Alright, who are they allied to? A lot of people, actually. Not anyone that I am worried about, though, so... And then a Bimlau. Yeah, they should have enough. One army should be enough to deal with them. Hopefully we recover manpower super fast. So, in terms of what we want... tree. Okay, so they can just get out of my war. From Bimlau, we want these two provinces. Excellent. And as for this, we want... Okay, come here. Enchantment, Thoughtweave, Delusion, Assimilation Program. Because... Sweet mother of God, I fucking hate humans now. Actually, for these guys... Get rid of that alliance. Where is Gatosk? Okay, I don't care about that. That's it. All I want from them. And then here we want that, and obviously all of the cash. And we will also need to boost adventurer loyalty a ton. Yeah, give me money. Collection. Those experience enhancements. Okay, we can do that. Sure, I really want the Harmraj ideas, though, is the main problem. Really, is Percolin still the biggest? Good news, everybody. Okay, do not want my ruler just on armies. I want to throw a fort down here. And in terms of devastation, it's all pretty bad. Yeah, I want one here, and then I'll put one here, and then I can also put one here as well. Alright, what can I take? Social contract, balance of power. Yeah. Mirian Rahen. do that one. Wrong. Alright, civil cannons. Oh, yeah. Can I get a philosopher who's not a stinky human? There we are. Okay, so that'll get those, and then we can put one down there. And that will help the devastation go down. It's getting those two. Put one down here, and that gets everything else. So I should build another army. What's combat with? 34. Two here. Two there. Two there. In terms of you have claims on, it's not really all that much. It's just like pretty much those provinces right there. Yeah, I should also build better forts everywhere I can. Hey, more forts. Forts are fine. Okay. Now, where did they move their capital? that the bomb region? It is. Does that make them the biggest in the bomb region? Yes, it does. Okay. There we are. Let's actually go up to 20 cannons on each of these. Okay. And then we can core everything, which is wonderful. Truce with them is up. Venture loyalty. Okay, yeah. Devastation in those should go down fairly quickly. Alright. I'll do that for right now. The adventurers need 60 loyalty. So we can do that. Barracks and a courthouse in every province. It needs autonomy. Real low. You know what? That's something I can do. It's my... Okay, yeah, that's fine. And second wave settlement in all of the north makes sense. There's a trader. Jesus Christ, what kind of separatism do these have? It's courthouse, training fields. barracks, courthouse. Yeah, makes more sense to develop normally. The rest of these will go down eventually. Alright, so... two jot. This one. Decrease the autonomy. School barracks. This one, school. It's not barracks. Courthouse barracks. Courthouse. Courthouse barracks. Barracks. Courthouse. Courthouse, barracks, all right, Semfron. I will wait to do that Casus Belli. Here, I want to do this. I am not going to call Jin Xiang in. It wasn't that many years ago that I was trying to prop the Wolf Command up so that they remained divided. Dama. Hey, there we are. Take this one. I don't even know when the final paradigm spawns or what causes it to spawn. Right, and there we are, let's go that way. Okay, Tech 20. Do I have weave on? I think I do. Okay, so for Gatask. Great. Seer. Okay, courthouse. Barracks. And here we have... Here's loyalty will go up to 60 naturally. Any factories? Alright, Seer, who are you allied with? Nobody. And then from the Wolf Command, I want these provinces. Excellent. Now I will send this army to sit on their capital. Next. I'll take this one. Oh no, that's not good. We have secured our side of the Karyana. Now it is time to remind the rest of Pelesse why it is Harmar the Great conquered the continent and not some puny human warlord. Even Jahair failed at that. Let's do our ancestors proud and cross the river, claws out and fangs bared. That would be the rending. May the ancestors guide us and guard us. Karyana returns. Festive Elephant. After the Blood Lotus, this really doesn't feel that bad. temple complex is fine, thank God. Alright. That fucking sucks. Alright, so... Spirit Ward menu. To Gayasa. The burning gaze subsides. To Gayasa was a rather peculiar Great Spirit, distinct from all others due to its seeming omniscience, its keen intellect, and worst of all, its omnipresent surveillance of all within its domain. Pratad I ultimately decided to imprison it after numerous sleepless nights, for even during slumber, a burning sensation lingered in his forehead, as if the Great Spirit could peer into his dreams. The incessant feeling of being observed and the resulting paranoia had become unbearable for him and his country's courts and citizens. Some believe the Great Spirit had ceased its surveillance, only for the sensation to return. In certain cases, people couldn't discern whether it was genuinely watching them or if their minds played tricks on them. He and the courts collectively agreed to end this ordeal. Temples were rebuilt and artifacts were returned. Although it seemed strange, the Great Spirit appeared to comprehend its actions and orders. It witnessed the restoration of the temples with minimal resistance. He wondered if the Great Spirit truly understood his intentions. Nevertheless, he dismissed such thoughts, focusing instead on the task at hand. After months and years of combating various spirits and disasters, the temples were finally restored. Pratad I impatiently awaited the final inspection by the court's wizards and priests before receiving approval to activate the temple. Eagerly, he gave the command to initiate the process, and the guards and wizards promptly complied. The temple powered up, emanating a faith-infused blue and yellow magic. Yet an odd sensation lingered. Even with the paper talisman suddenly adhered to his robe, he felt no response from the Great Spirit. Both he and the Great Spirit gazed at the temple, but he couldn't tear his eyes away from the paper talisman. It was as if the talisman peered directly into its prison, yet it remained passive, merely observing. After a few moments, the temples erupted in magic, unleashing a colorful fountain of blue and yellow into the sky, clashing with the heavens as the magic began to spread throughout the land. The paper talismans gently burned away from the magic, and yet still elicited no reaction. It simply sizzled away without resistance. As night fell and he returned to the court, he received reports that all talismans and spirits had finally disappeared. We were finally free from its influence. Alright, so... yeah, tech. Alright. That would be why. I'll get all those converted over to correct religion and culture. This Tama is not looking so great. TBH. I'm not sure if I actually want to do that, though, is the problem. I'm going to need those 3 provinces. And there is no way for me to get them without fighting. So, water markets, dye markets, Dujati League headquarters. Oh, sure, why not? Trade efficiency, sure. Yeah, I can do that. And we'll declare for a toss. Excellent. Yeah. Temple complex restored. Excellent. Yeah. That one here, and then bring another army up, bring another army up. Spirit Domain. Here. That one will take like no time. Merchants are leaving. Yay. Okay. You know, I can actually siege that down and they can come with them. Oh, this is going to be unpleasant to siege. Excellent. Okay, what happened? Did I never do the Elephant Ward one? What's wrong with this one? All provinces. Okay. And from them, we want these provinces. Is there anything that we need to get the Jade Marches to do? Oh, you sure you want to siege that? That's a fascinating decision. Alright. Great. now we can do this. Yep. And the Jade Marches still do not want out. Yeah, goblins don't place a huge amount of value on life, so it's fine. Okay, come on. Jade March. Hey, that's pretty good. Oh, they casted bullshit magic. Never mind. You know what? Our king can go fight that. All right. Shit. $11.56. Okay. Go there, and these guys over here. Alright. Just north of the second Haram Raj's territory is the Nadam Raj, or Northern Raj, which split away after the Phoenix Empire's authority collapsed. The lands are ruled by adventurers, but adventurers are good for adventuring, not politics. Let's remind them of this fact. Through our grace, they can keep some token power. More than other humans, at least. This way, they can deal with all the problems beneath our notice. And by settling the most important areas of the Nadam Raj, we can make sure the adventurers don't get any ideas about trying to change castes. Alright, so... we want to do that. Alright, we should probably focus on just a single one. Dinbasa. Dinbasa. It's also going to be Dinbasa. It's going to be Karyana. Is this Karyana or Dinbasa? Karyana. This is Dinbasa. Alright. So we want to do this one. Life on Jin, and I guess the Jade March. Alright. Not really sure what it wants me to do here, does it? Is this in the... No, wrong one. Yes, it is in the elephant herd too. Okay, so we'll get that one done. Then we will need to get this one done as well. Temple restoration. This one. Where's all my armies? Yes, it is. Why not go with that? Can't do that. Don't do that. We'll deal with the hobgoblins. Okay, temple restoration, and then we want this one. So that should be the last temple. No. Shit, we're gonna need to get this one done, I think, as well, which sucks. Derelict. This temple is Sardica. Yeah, I'll take that for the national unrest. Assume all these have second wave settlement. Yes, they do. What about these? No. Okay. And then this also needs... Really? This one's part of the... Damn. Can I just... Yeah, I can do that. Really did not want to fight for that. Alright, is this one being restored? Yeah, it is. I think this one's Yanhi, right? Yeah, I can't do anything about that. Yeah, we're a nation of mages. Alright, demoting Elephant Lords. The Elephant Lords of Gatjir have long ruled with impunity, swearing loyalty to the Raj, but acting with total freedom. It does not help that their elephant husbandry gives them no small amount of strength in battle. Still, they shall fall before it as they did before Haramar. Their great autonomy, a centuries-long mistake, shall be revoked. This shall benefit us more than just a more than any other mere conquest, since elephants, unlike horses, are not afraid of Haramari and can be used as cavalry. If we can persuade the keeper of great herds to share their secrets, we can improve the mobility of our armies. Alright. Is there any more? Yes, all of those can get done. Temple Complex, excellent. $28. Yeah, we're fine with goblins. We are #1 GP. Wonderful. March of Hideous Sorrows. That's great. Alright, we can actually do another, some more, 34, 36, alright. Courthouse, and get rid of the regimental camp, and replace it with, where is it? Barracks, and then we also want to decrease the autonomy. I like to take that for gov capacity modifier, do that, and then manpower recovery speed. Alright, we can do Marutha the Righteous. The true king of Rahen. Marutha wasn't just a ruler, he was also a formidable fighter and a great spirit determined to fight for his freedom. Rebuilding the High Temples drained the country's resources and people's efforts significantly. As Marutha asserted his dominance as the true Raja and battled other spirits, we diligently worked on restoring artifacts and reigniting the magic within the High Temples. While he rested peacefully, we plotted and schemed. Soon Marutha sensed something was amiss and knew whom to approach. Within the hour, Pratad I received reports of an approaching sandstorm at his palace, all according to plan. Moments later, two rulers stood facing each other, one on the balcony of his palace, the other atop a wall of sand charging towards the palace. Marutha roared while Pratad I watched in silence, offering no reaction. Marutha charged forward, leaving a trail of destruction, while Pratad leaned on his balcony's railing. The court and guards nervously stood nearby, swatting as the Great Spirit charged onward, shaking the earth with his sheer might. Just before Marutha reached the palace, Pratad I raised his hand, making a gesture, a signal for the court wizards and a command for the Lion of the Sands to kneel before him. Marutha roared once more, sandstorms covering the entire horizon. Just inches away from the balcony, a sudden yellow and blue magical wall slammed against the Great Spirit. Marutha grunted and growled, pushing against the magical barrier cast from the high temples. The sky flickered as ancient magic clashed with the spirit realm. Marutha fought fiercely, but began losing ground, slowly sliding away from the palace. He continued to claw at the magic barrier, only for Pratad to gesture once again for him to kneel. Marutha's eyes widened in rage before a magical sigil was cast into the sky from the palace. The wall of energy intensified, and the spirit was propelled into the sandstorm behind him. Dust filled the air, stunning the few brave onlookers, leaving Pratad to see a pair of enraged yet saddened yellow eyes atop a bowing feline before they vanished into the annals of history. None shall question my rule, not even Marutha. Okay, and then we do Sriyama, and that should be it. Okay, so we have done 2. For Karyana, that's Karyana, that's Yanhi. I do not think, I think that's Yanhi as well, right? Yes. This is Karyana. Yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead and just build a fort there. Build a big fort there. Is this... Who's this? Hukayan Tolabeti. Okay, that's not my problem then. And then we take... It's 36, and then... 20... Sarah Sung for it up. They purged the Haramari that were there. Because one of these is originally Haramari. So I should do... Fuck. That was stupid. Oh well. These guys are a long way from Duchat. Or Gavange. Yeah. Whatever you want to call their homeland. Yep, home. This one. don't even want all their provinces, so this really should not be too bad at all. This is... yeah, sorry, I couldn't make it's done with. Now we gotta fund the restoration efforts. Okay, yeah, I'll do that one, and then we also want to just continue building forts. We'll also just build one there for... Alright. Grant them a charter. Yes, I want the buff. Play no control. Yeah. Okay, what can we do next? This. Alright, Dragon Command. Trade down south. Brilliant. Denbasa. What temple am I missing? This one. Yeah. Riyama, alright, excellent. Karyana the Unfathomable is decided, declared Pratad I, addressing the assembled nobles and courtiers. The majority had voted in favor of restoring the High Temples, activating the ancient warding magic, and imprisoning the Great Spirit once more. They believed it was safer to confine the beast than try appeasing its otherworldly desires and views. Though a small minority opposed the decision, they were overruled by the majority. The risk to lives was deemed too great, especially with the spiritual world encroaching upon the mortal realm. Reconstruction efforts began swiftly, with the high temples along the river, the lifeblood of the nation, being rebuilt. Even as the Great Spirit attempted to thwart their efforts, the determined people of the land worked tirelessly. Countless resources were invested over months and years to ensure everything was in place. The moment to activate the temples and imprison Karyana was awaited with bated breath. The nobility, the court, and Karyana collaborated with haste, carefully planning and safeguarding the reconstruction against spiritual interference. Doubts loomed, and there was a shared understanding that they could not afford to fail again. When the news arrived that the final temple was complete, everyone rushed to the courtroom. As Bertad I stood there, already surrounded by court mages awaiting his signal, he watched the river closely and followed a glowing trail. Karayana, murmured one of the advisors. Bertad I observed as the spirit slithered down the river, approaching. Just before it submerged once more, Bertad I raised his hand into the air, signaling the mages. They shot a trailing spike of magic into the sky like fireworks, sending the message to activate the temples. At first, nothing seemed to happen. An eerie silence hung in the air. Then, just as the spirit was about to touch the river, the earth trembled. A sudden wall of magic expanded from the horizon where the temples were located. Pillars of magic arose in the distance, and a wave of blue and yellow energy swept across the land, enveloping the spirit. It wriggled and swayed, struggling to break free with all its might, but the ancient arcane magic held firm, entangling it in a net of power. With a final effort, the great spirit dropped into the river, sinking slowly as if the river had turned to mud before vanishing into the other side. The river returned to its calm state, and a moment of profound silence filled the courtroom. Then, just as the realization set in that the spirit was finally imprisoned, cheers erupted, filling the air with jubilation and relief. At last, this chapter is over. Alright. Alright, so we now have done 3, and we will get to do 4. That's pretty good. Not really, though, because it did nothing. Okay. So, Beyond Fog. Not willing to give up. What if I go kick your army in the teeth? $15,000. Excellent. And now we can just do a little bit of development, I guess. Alrighty. Come here, and these guys can march this way, and we can head here. You can also throw and enforce religious unity down there, and then down there. And I am actually going to go ahead and get that, because I am tired of having provinces that I can't culture convert. And I believe that getting a Inquisitor will probably be the best thing I can do to actually try and get, like, some more culture conversions done. Are they allied with Qian Bairang? No, it's Qian Lao. Fascinating. And then these guys can deal with all of that. Excellent. There we are. I'll do it. And it is... which temple? This one. It will be done next year. Also needs a fort. Yomara's doing well. Oh wow. I don't think that starts out as... They've also been culture converting a lot of stuff. Yes, of course. Trouble at the gates. Right, now we can do Denbasa, the Festive Elephant. Pertad I contemplated what to do about the Great Spirits. Its actions lacked wisdom, and there was no innovation amidst its chaos and shenanigans. The aftermath yielded no results, and other spirits continued to plague the land, disrupting the peace and stirring up unrest among its people. Consequently, Pertad I and their court decided to put an end to it once and for all. They gathered knowledge and information on the possible causes and devised plans to undo its influence, with the goal of restoring the High Temples. These ancient and majestic wonders, crafted by masters of magic, the High Gods, would be rebuilt and brought back to their former glory. Months and years passed, consuming countless resources and manpower in the restoration efforts, including the artifacts and chambers within the temples. Numerous mages delved into the secrets, striving to comprehend their mechanics and activation procedures. Finally, after all this labor, Pertad I awaited one last report from the court wizards before signaling the end of the disaster. Then, in an instant, Pertad stood up as a messenger burst into the courtroom. They gestured upwards, and court wizards, using their magic, channeled their might into launch a magic missile into the sky. It erupted like a colossal firework above the capital, serving as a signal to awaken the temple from their slumber. Pillars of blue and yellow energy enveloped the lands in their arcane magic, ultimately separating the mortal and spiritual realms. This was something even the most agile elephant could not evade, regardless of its greatness. As the evening descended, Pertad took a deep breath, finally able to enjoy a peaceful drink. Never has water tasted so delicious. Alright, so that is all of the ones that we can ward, and then I guess Hokuma's dealt with as well. Corruption. I'll take stability. Let's do Horse Artillery. Okay, we do not really have all that many left to do. And we can do that. This army can go back to drilling. That army can stay how it was. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. They need to stay down south so that they can deal with all of this stupid shit. Oh, look at them. Don't they look so cute? Hey, let me spy network. I also would like to dissolve the alliance. I thought I asked for access. I did not submit it because I am an idiot. Alright. Got my magical infrastructure. It's great. And we can do... what are we doing? 36, 20? Yeah, fine. Time to raise another army. Forgot to do that. Build capacity. Not that I'm probably ever going to use it. How about with this 36 now? Take it to 38. These guys can take 38, 38, 38, 38. Brilliant. Alright. I'll surrender unconditionally. Do that. And then we can do this. Sorry, come right there. They rebuilt the tunnel? Yeah, they built the tunnel. Alright. Okay, and there we are. That way, decline. Okay, that can come off. So I can convert that. religious unity here. Doing it there as well. Alright, this guy can come over here. Do that. Oh. I assume that these would probably be the cheapest since they probably still have the, Alright, I guess they don't have the settlement modifier. Ooh, this is gonna cost a lot of Bidlo points. Okay, so they do not want to give up. I can fix that though. Yeah, I can do more. Let's do this. Use this. We gotta go to Chika. Alright, they will give up. And we're also fighting the elephant command. Do that. Do that. That's a big rebellion. We can wait a little bit. Good for them. Okay, so we are now missing 4 provinces, and then we are done with the mission tree, minus Monster of the West, which I just really do not care about. Okay. I am the state. Loyal officers. Alright, and how do we end this? Just needs to have been active for 10 years. Alright. Starball. And then for military power, just do that. Let's threaten war. We'll do another army right here. This. Shit. Alright, that's fine. These guys, deal with them. Okay, and this guy can deal with rebels. Show up over that way. He can deal with that, as well as down here. Alright, and I will actually, since it seems like they have pretty good fort defense, I'm gonna go ahead and put that down. Okay, so meditation, yearly prestige, shadows in the night. Alright. I wanted to just leave with that. I don't want to tell you how to run your country, but I do believe that Jianxiang has more important things to worry about than like 3 provinces on the edge of their empire. Okay, almost done. Did a good job converting. Okay. So many harm already. Despite what the events say, we probably are the majority of Rahen now. Pay the 1,000 ducats. Let him have it. And we want to convert this one and okay. It's 13 war score. Alright. With that, we have conquered all of Rahen, plus basically just all of Rahen, really. Minus Rukalin. The ruined kingdoms of Shamakad were weak, disorganized, and pitiful. Harmar conquered them without much trouble, and even the hobgoblins nearly managed it. It's not a glorious finale, but we shall finally prove our dominance over Rahen by consolidating its most pathetic subregion. The year is 144 AA. The united hobgoblins of the command seem poised to ravage Hellas and forge a great empire. Perhaps if they faced our weak and decadent cousins, they would have been successful. But it was not so. They faced us, and unlike our cousins, we have not lost what let us dominate Hellas all those years ago. Having previously crushed the hobgoblins, it was a foregone conclusion we would dominate Shamakad once again. Now Hellas recognizes once more that the heirs of Harmar are the mightiest. Like our glorious scion, we shall conquer all we desire, Shamakad, Yanshin, Bomban, and even further. At the top of the food chain, there's an apex predator, a creature so powerful nothing else dares to prey on it. The command deluded themselves with unreproachable lions, boars, and wolves, but the only apex predator of the jungle knows is the tiger. It was Harmar who made the weaker than human hobgoblins flee to the dwarf claves. But the lesson clearly didn't stick the first time. Let there be no ambiguity this time. Rahen is not theirs to conquer. And then we get 15 years of a decent buff, but it's kind of mediocre for a capstone reward. I suppose we did get like 2.5% discipline, but that's balance being the unfun people they are. I guess probably wouldn't let it be actual 5% discipline, even though it's... This is like one of the uber nations in terms of military power. 40% infantry combat ability is very good, though. Alright, so that is pretty much it, though. We have converted so many people over to Haramari, and we are having even more be converted very soon. All of Sarasong is fairly close to being converted. Basically, all of Dujat is Haramari, minus the east side of the river. All of Ronkadesh is Haramari, and like a third quarter of the Shamakad is Haramari, and then we have like a handful of provinces over here on the coast that aren't converted over yet. But yeah, I think that will be the end of the campaign. I will tag out so we can take a look at a few things, because they are interesting. Pure Mechanim, I took a look at this earlier, between episodes at one point. Noonbay was a thing. They're basically kind of like a disaster tag, I guess. They have the ability to culture convert whenever they religiously convert a province, which is busted. Other than that, Inyasa is looking very kobold. Religion-wise, I guess Molten Eternity won out in the end over the Infinite Self parts. These are... Yeah, I think there's only 2 Mechanim... Well, 3 Mechanim formables, I guess, showed up. Wild color Mechanim. I guess this one doesn't have, what's it called? Doesn't have national ideas yet. Other than that, the Mangrove Republics, which are these guys right here, very powerful. They're not powerful as the AI, but as a player you get crazy high buffs for all that stuff, so they're one of the big powers, weirdly enough. And elsewhere, I did not get rid of all that many places. Favosi is a thing. The Usawari managed to conquer Fangula. Rump State, Nolikaz, given that they were once the Zaz and conquered, like, all of that. Religion-wise, Shadow Pact, Horseshesh is, I guess, a little bit weird. Umbral Covenant, though, Vile One. One of the big world ender tags. Elsewhere, the Centaurs exploded. Orlam Aldiz here managed to be one of the great powers. Yes, there they are. Obviously, we were number 1. And we can look through a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, we're the biggest by far. Still number 2. Score throughout the ages. Actually didn't do great. Religions. High philosophy. Managed to keep high philosophy very strong, so they were big. We had some pretty big provinces. We had good generals. Pretty good rulers. Army quality-wise. Really good morale. Really good discipline. Oh, good discipline, not really good discipline. Really good siege ability, though. And then pretty good professionalism, 100 tradition, obviously. Biggest force limit in the world. Let me just double check and make sure that is the case. Yep. Biggest force limit. I'll double check and see how we were looking. Yeah. Marhold has really good tradition, too. Navies, who cares? Total losses, Vanrahar. Yep, that seems about right. I'm bad with attrition. Income-wise, we were pretty good. We're competitive with everyone else. We didn't really focus too much on the economy, so that makes sense. Other than that, we can take a look around. We have, actually, those are really pretty Iskani borders. Considering what Iskan usually looks like, having, like, 4 big nations, 3 main ones, and then, like, a couple smaller ones is pretty unusual. Religion-wise, basically the same as always. Kornite in the east. Empire, not looking great. Is there anything else? I mean, Laurent conquering. Dragon Coast is a little bit weird. Anything else? Eka big. Dragon, Keterat's pretty normal. Sun Elves never managed to consolidate, which is fairly normal. Triarchy, I've actually never seen. Typically, if any spring court tag wins here, it's going to be Akripun, but it wasn't for some reason. Other than that, Egghard. Yes. Egghard, that could be a fun run. Big Enben Moss, which is always fun. Regent Court, New World. Alright, and I think that is about it. Nothing else interesting culture-wise besides the Field Stalker gnolls having a time. But yeah. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this campaign through Vanrahar, because I actually quite enjoyed it. Didn't go too long, but I thought it was fun. Alright, thanks so much for watching, and have a good day.